Throughout time, humankind has made many technological advances, such as starting with the caveman, creating fire. Then we learned how to use different types of transportation. And then we began to create technologies that would help us to move and build things much easier, such as the Egyptian pulleys. And then we began to create war equipment, such as the Roman Empire's shields, spears, and many of their weapons. And then we also began to create different vehicles, such as the Romans' chariots that they used to go into war and also in Colosseum battles. And then when you get into the pioneer era, they had wagons that they used for different types of transportation to transport many loads. And then, going a little bit further ahead, we began to use this as a normal type of transportation, such as a wagon. And then, we began to create trains. And this is just a short clip art that I have of a steam-powered train that we created. And then came the first steam-powered car. And cars then began to come out as the brand new form of transportation. We began to create many new types of cars, fixing the engine, making it look better, making it look the way that we wanted it to look, and making it run better and run faster. And then we started to get to new energy sources. And this here is just an oil rig that they would have out in many oceans, such as today, that they're pumping oil out from the ocean floor. And then we went back to cars, creating new cars and creating different ways that we can make them better and faster for our own use. But then we started to get different types of technologies that we could access easier and better reliable source of energy, such as power plants. And then we went back to cars, creating new types of cars like trucks and jeeps. And then we got into the gaming services, which nowadays people are involving themselves fully to envelop themselves into the game with VR headsets. And then coming up to today came this disappointment, the Cybertruck. They created this because they wanted to create a better and safer car, but it looks like a post-apocalyptic vehicle. Now, what we haven't thought of is what impact do we have on the environment? And the quote that I was able to find was, "It's not just the effect of technology on the environment or religions or economic structure or politics, etc., stuff like that. Everything now exists based around technology, and it seems as though technology has become our new environment. And we've kind of just started to stop caring about our natural environments and what we do to them." Now, what I've kind of began to realize is that during this time in quarantine, we've pretty much been locked down inside of our houses, and we've been unable to leave, go drive cars. Planes have been shut down. All flights have been shut down going across country or even across state. And even public places such as beaches, parks, and theaters have all been shut down, mainly because of this coronavirus that is happening. But what we've started to realize is that during this time on lockdown, since we're not allowed to drive around, go on flights, or leave our houses, we've really begun to realize and open up many other people's eyes that we are hurting our environment and our world. Now, there have been many reports in places such as China where this whole thing came out. And China is a very technological place where it's come out with some of the most advanced type of technologies, such as the smart car, and it's just like a self-driving car. And a report that they found was that when they had to close down their beaches, about a month later, they started to see an increase in sea life coming back to their reefs and their beaches, such as dolphins. And they hadn't seen dolphins for years upon years in their beaches. And another thing that I realized was that, is this happening because all of our technological places have been shut down and workplaces like power plants in China? Because they pump out so much carbon dioxide into the air and it pollutes their air so much that people have to constantly wear masks even to leave their homes. And that's what I'm saying here, is that also in some places animals have begun to come back to their natural environments when they were pushed out by people cutting down forests, cutting down just their homes that they lived in. And now that we're not able to leave or go drive tractors out into the forest or go hunting, it's allowing many types of species to come back and rebuild their homes and rebuild their new environments. And what I want to ask you is, does this open up your eyes to what has been happening in our world? Does this show you that every little thing that you do, driving around, going to work, maybe even if you work at a power plant or something like that, does this show you what happens to the environment? Now, I want to thank you for listening to me in our TED Talk. And one more thing that I wanted to mention was, after this quarantine is over, we need to care less about ourselves and our technical advancements and what we want to advance as. We need to also care about an environment and what we do to it. Thank you for watching, and stay safe.